Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over this great email I sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, he's in his 40s, he is now divorced, happily divorced, and has made one heck of a comeback in his life on multiple fronts since D-Day. You're going to see this guy here, he's been divorced I think 7 years now. His prior marriage was an absolute disaster. He was your classic nice guy, completely blue-pilled, had no idea about reality when it comes to modern dating, women and all that, because he didn't have very good role models, and was just taken to the cleaners by women in his life, particularly his ex-wife. In his marriage, he did everything he thought he was supposed to do, treat her well, give her things, all that, but there was no amount of things he could do could ever make her happy. And she would just take. And eventually he busted her cheating, and, well, when he caught her and her lover, let's just say it didn't end too well for the lover. Got divorced, really bad, but since then he's turned his life around. Now it comes to recent times where guess what? Guess who's reached out to him after 7 years? Yep, the ex-wife. And things aren't going too well in her marriage with the guy that she cheated on with. And apparently it's an absolute disaster. She's broke, and she's now reaching out to him for, testing the waters. Saying, hey, stranger, through the Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. And our guy, he decides to have some fun with her. Mess with her a little bit, given what she did to him. And that'd be a good one to go over here, guys, making the point, multiple fronts here. One, they always come back. If their lives go to crap, and that usually does after they leave you, divorce you, whatever, usually they're going to be coming back. Okay? It's just a matter of time. And two, how a guy can go from absolute rock bottom, turn his life around if he chooses to, as this guy has done, as well as many other things. But by the way, guys, this technically is an update. It's an update to a video I did 3 months ago, which was titled, Husband Catches Born-Again Virgin Wife with Lover and Disaster Happens, Then He Makes a Big Comeback. And I chose this title of this video because it's more focused on his last laugh and getting some payback. But anyhow, it's the same darn thing. So you're going to see, and if you want to see or hear about his original video, if you didn't see it, I'll post a link in the description as well as the top of the comment section. So you guys will definitely appreciate this. So he says here, good morning, SSM. Again, this is codename Kevin. I wrote to you a few months ago about my ex-wife nearly destroying my life and my career. I have some updates I'd like to share. I've been meaning to write for the past week or so, but I've been very busy and couldn't get around to it. I had a little bit of an accident while cycling on Sunday, and I'm currently on bed rest and had to take the day off, so I'm using this time to finally email you. Brother, no problem. I'm glad you wrote in, and I'm glad to hear you're out and about cycling, getting exercise. Good. Heal up. My ex-wife actually reached out to me on Facebook last month. After everything she did to you, man, that shows the nerve on her. At first, I didn't realize it was her. I recognized the name, but the woman in the profile picture looked very different from what I remembered. She had cut her hair short and gained a lot of weight. Meanwhile, you are cycling, taking care of yourself, looking good. Look at her. She looks like a pig. And of course thinks that she'll be so happy to hear from her. After checking her profile, I confirmed it was indeed her. I'll be honest, over the years, I've wondered how I would react if I ever saw her again. I thought that I would feel angry and maybe a little bit sad. But at that exact moment, I felt nothing. That was just very different how I felt the last time I saw her. Now she's just a bad memory with no influence on who I am today. In other words, brother, over time, you became indifferent. And that's the best place to be. Because if you were pissed off and all that, then she still has some power over you. Nope, you're totally done. Awesome. I knew it would happen. At first, I was planning to say, go suck a you-know-what, and block her. But after watching your video and reading the comments, I admit I got curious about how she was doing. I'll copy and paste part of our initial conversation here. Now, him doing this, guys, is not just because he actually cares. He obviously wants to hear, backing up what you hear in all these videos and stories, that her life's turned to dog crap. And looking at her profile picture and seeing her appearance, well, the odds are pretty good that's it. And who can blame him? So I'm going to go through the whole recap of both him and her in this little conversation. You'll see my point. Well, she says to him, "Hi, stranger." They always start off like that. He says, "Who's this?" She says, "It's me." He says, "Did you forget about me already?" After 7 years, he tried to forget about her. He says, "What do you want?" She says, I just wanted to see how you're doing. He says, and she also says, Kevin, are you still angry because of what happened between us? Holy crap, talk about her downplaying and dismissing everything she did to this guy. He says, no, I start dancing uncontrollably with joy every time I think about it. She says, I know I cheated, but you also did bad things to me. I'm not being a jerk about it, am I? See, immediately blaming him for her cheating and the downfall of the marriage. He says, what do you want? She says, I miss you, Kevin. Can we please talk? He says, about what? And she says, about us. He said, then now he breaks up the conversation and says to us that she texts like my Gen Z cousins, splitting one paragraph into 50 separate lines and lacking any knowledge of grammar and punctuation. Makes me wonder what they're teaching the kids in school these days. They're not teaching the kids in school these days shit. But that's a whole other commentary for me. I digress. I agreed to hop on call on Facebook Messenger. The About Us conversation can be found in Chapter 83 of the Hobag Handbook. Say you're sorry and make a huge mistake and try to emotionally manipulate with tears, beg, blame the cheated on husband, affair partner, that time of the month, horoscope, anything and everything except yourself. Sounds about right, and of course she followed it textbook. Anyhow, after all that nonsense and blame shifting, she started talking about her life. I found that she's still married to Jay, her affair partner, and they have 3 kids together. Oh man, those poor kids with those 2 a-holes. She said they're currently separated and that she filed for divorce because he was, wait for it, abusive. Oh, the same thing she accused you of. Imagine that. Isn't that they all say? You give her a dirty look. Oh, well, he's being abusive. He says, verse 9 from chapter 11 of the Hobag Handbook. She then mentioned that she'd be coming to where I live and asked if we could meet up for old time's sake. Why the hell can she, in her psychotic mind, would she think that you'd want to meet up with her after everything she did to you? Taking you to the cleaners, treating you like crap, cheating on you, and not to mention she's blown up to look like fucking Jabba the Hutt. That's what happens, guys. They have a certain perception of you, and it never goes away. In her mind, this guy will always come back for more. Not to mention she hasn't looked in the mirror lately, obviously. I acted like I still hadn't gotten over her, that I was hurt and needed time to think. The next day, I agreed to meet. Ordinarily, I'd be smacking this guy if he's meeting her after 7 years. But what he's doing is a part of his little plan for a little payback here, so just bear with him here. I knew the sole reason that this leech was reaching out to me is because her life wasn't going well, and she's checking to see if she can drain my blood once again. I'll admit, I kept the conversation going because I felt a bit vindicated. Don't ask me why, but I decided to have a little fun with it. Dude, after everything that happened to you, you deserve to have some fun with her. Ugh. Don't get me wrong, life is paying her back. Really. But, and I mean, you can't do some recon, get some info to vindicate everything, and have some fun with her. After the call, I didn't speak to her directly again. I just texted her that we'd meet when she arrived. She was coming for a friend's wedding. By the way, her travel was paid for because she's broke. During our conversation, she brought up her financial problems multiple times. She and Jay burned through my hard-earned money in no time. For our date, I asked her to reserve a very expensive restaurant, saying I might forget because I'm very busy these days. How great it is to hear that she's broke. Again, I feel bad for the 3 kids. And all your hard-earned money, everything you threw at her to make her happy, be a good husband, threw it all away. Well, on the day of our date, I told her I had an emergency meeting that afternoon and would meet her directly at the restaurant. She went ahead as planned. I later told her the meeting was running long and I'd be about an hour late. I told her go ahead and order whatever she wanted. I'd be there soon. So there she is at the expensive steakhouse, whatever, ordering everything. This is her last shot to fulfill her financial problems. And you're doing this. 30 minutes later, I deleted my Facebook account. I don't really use Facebook anyway. Despite her asking, I never shared my number with her. Bro, that's awesome. That's small potatoes compared to what she did to you, but it's good. Well, later that night, I got a message on Instagram from her. She was cussing me out. My Instagram is private, by the way, and the profile picture is a picture of my dog, Thor. I don't know how she found it. Because she's been stalking you for a long time. That's why. Planning the perfect moment for her last-ditch effort to, save herself. When I sent you my previous email, I hadn't had any contact with or knowledge about my ex since I moved to Florida in 2019. I actively avoided any news about her. It wasn't difficult since I don't have any mutual friends left. After everything that happened, even though they knew she cheated, most of them distanced themselves from me. Of course, because it's the man who's always the bad guy. She bought into, I guarantee she blamed you for her affairs and everything else she did to you, and therefore they bought into her crap. Because again, the man's always the bad guy. Some treated me like I was a monster, and others just cut me off entirely. That experience showed me that they were never really my friends. They weren't. Be happy these assholes are out of your life. At the time, though, losing my wife and everything I worked for, combined with being isolated from people that I had trusted, pushed me into a very, very dark place. Later, a few of them reached out occasionally, but I have zero interest in reconnecting. I wouldn't. There are still a couple people I'm in contact with. One of them, let's call her Becky, was somebody who lives to gossip. That night, I spoke with Becky to find out what happened after I left. I learned a lot that my ex did not mention. Her relationship with Jay had been far messier than she described. They burned through my money within about 2 years and even had to sell the house because they couldn't keep up with the mortgage. Fucking losers. They already had a child by then. Once the money ran out, Jay dipped, probably found another sugar mama or something like that. Well, somehow they got back together, but it didn't last. They've been on again, off again ever since. Likely because one or both of them keeps trying to monkey branch and keeps failing. Despite all this, they're still legally married, if you can even call it a marriage, that is. This relationship has become more toxic than the venom of the inland taipan. During all this, my ex decided to get knocked up twice. I honestly feel bad for the kids. I can imagine how effed up those kids are going to be growing up in an environment like that. No one deserves parents, those two. Yeah, I feel bad for the kids too, but you know what? It is what it is, man. It's not your job to feel bad for those kids or provide for those kids, but she's looking for you to do that. That was her plan. That she put on the big show. You take her fat ass back and become the parent to her 3 kids and provide her with the lifestyle that she is yearning for. And her perception of you is you'd be the same old guy that would take her back after all this shit. But you changed, and that's awesome. And she certainly did not expect you to leave her ass at the restaurant and stand her up after she probably ordered, the fucking cowboy ribeye and probably the most expensive glasses of wine on the menu. Well, according to Becky, my ex has also been talking a lot about me and has been stalking me mostly through LinkedIn since I'm mostly active there. She apparently wanted to reach out for a while but was afraid how I'd respond. Gee, how did she think you'd respond? Becky didn't seem to know that my ex had already contacted me. I think I know why she reached out now. The company that I work for is going public. We're currently in the SEC review period, and if everything goes well, we should be listed on the NASDAQ in June. Dude, that's awesome. I hope your stock options make you very wealthy, because you certainly earned that after all the shit you went through. And of course, she knows this, not an accident. As a shareholder, this is great news for me. My ex knew about this and even congratulated me, saying she was proud of me. Once a gold digger, always a gold digger. The audacity of this bitch. Honestly, her reaching out to me offended me more than anything. How low does she think my standards are? She looks like a human-shaped teapot right now. If she had her previous looks, I would consider it a one-night stand because of it, as she calls it old time's sake. Since I'm a very generous person, I obviously would have left tips for her services. Well, if she looked really good and you hooked up with her, even just to love her and leave her, I'd be smacking the shit out of you because that'd be a terrible idea. Think about it. Oops, I'm pregnant. Because I know flat out that you have not had a vasectomy, so you wouldn't want to do that. But I like your attitude of inflicting some more damage on her. Dude, you're going to have to be even more careful now that obviously you're going to be returning to wealth, because you're not going to be able to trust anybody, let alone women. That's the update I wanted to share. In my last email, I might have given the wrong impression, though. It's true that I don't want to get married again, but I do, in fact, want children. I don't want my bloodline to end with me. You're going to call me stupid, but I do want to find a woman to build a family with and spend my remaining days on this planet just without marriage. I understand you want to have kids. I understand you want to continue the line, that type of thing. But my God, and okay, that's great. You don't want to get married after what you've been through. But you're going to have a very hard time finding any women out there, particularly if you're doing well for yourself, that there isn't going to be conditions that you're going to put a ring on their finger before, you know. I mean, it's not impossible, but I'm just telling you right now. And frankly, after what you've been through, oh, hell no. You'd be out of here. If you didn't want kids, but said you wanted to get married, you'd be out of your fucking mind. I'd be tracking you down where you are in Florida and smacking you myself. But yes, I can understand you want kids, but this is going to be a challenge, man. I believe a single, stable household with both parents present is the best environment for raising a child. When I asked what you would do in my position, I meant in this exact situation, without marriage being a part of it. So far, I haven't had much luck. The women I've met are far from girlfriend or mother material. I didn't expect finding someone to reproduce with would be this frustrating. Well, there you go, man. You might need to cast your net someplace else. He mentions what part of Florida he is, but out of respect for him, I'm not going to mention what part of Florida. But you're going to have to search elsewhere, because maybe where you are it isn't the best quality. But clearly, you've changed a lot about who you are and who you were back then. That will help you. Because if you've already turned your life around, you've got your finances in order, and your company goes public, and I'm sure it's going to happen one way or another. You're going to become nice and wealthy from the stock options. You have to be very careful, because not just with potential girlfriends or whatever, it could be anybody in your life trying to use you, and it's going to happen. That's why it's always best to disguise your wealth. Maybe it's because of where I live. Where I live is a shithole of degenerates after all. I think I should try my luck someplace else. Even if you can't fully relate, I'd appreciate any advice you might have. If you decide to make a video about this, email as well. I'd also be interested in hearing perspectives from the viewers who are married for a long while or in long-term relationships with kids. A lot of people in the comments seem to think arranged marriage is a solution to everything, which can't be more inaccurate. Women are women regardless of their skin color or culture. The women from India are particularly good at putting on one heck of a disguise. I've known girls who got tag teamed at a frat party, and those same girls act like they blush if a man even as much as brushes up against them in front of their parents. Yes, I've known girls like that too. And I've never thought the arranged marriage thing was the solution for it all. Bullshit. Heard too many stories. He says, look at the Indian comedian's wife. I forgot his name, but his wife pretty much turned him into a laughingstock in front of the whole world. That's that guy Akash, whatever the fuck his last name is. My God. Trust me, arranged marriage is not better than dating and marrying somebody. The former might be even worse because you're literally marrying a stranger who you don't know at all. Well, then again, we could say a lot of guys marry a stranger who they really don't know at all, because a lot of times they put on the bait and switch for the guy they settled with. But anyhow, man, that's the abrupt ending. But before I address your question, I got to say I'm so proud of you that you've gotten your life back together. I mean, I know you did at the end of the last email that you sent months ago. I think it's hilarious and not at all surprising that she eventually reached out to you. It's not an accident that she obviously tracked you down, saw what was going on through your LinkedIn. She probably looked at the company you're working for and probably saw information about them registering to go public or however the fuck it works. Connected the dots. And of course, a girl like that who's just an awful person, of course her life's gone to shit, you know? And she thinks that you're going to take her back, but that's how they think. Because you obviously recall, I know it makes your skin crawl, and the hair go on the back of your neck, how you used to behave around her. She hasn't forgotten, so she thinks that she'll have you wrapped around her finger. Wrong. You know, and thank God for that, because there are some dumbasses out there that would take an ex back after all that. She's looking for a fucking daddy and a guy to milk, to drain again, a bloodsucker, if you will. Drain your blood dry. But I'm so glad that obviously you've turned your life around and you've learned. And I think frankly, I think it's hilarious that you engaged with her a little bit, found out her life's turned into dog crap, and had a little payback. I mean, your payback was just small potatoes, but it made a point, and she knows it. Whether she'll reach out to you again, who knows? But regardless, I'm guaranteeing she's going to paint you as a picture as a monster to everybody else as usual, but fuck her. But that's her life, and the hell with her. That being said, your question about, again, you want kids. Okay, I don't understand because I don't want kids, but I can have empathy, or I can try to relate because I know guys that do, and you want your line to continue and all that. Well, that's great and all, but if you don't want to get married, again, a lot of gals aren't going to want to get married. You may meet some great gal out there. Hopefully, there are some good ones out there that won't care and you can be with, but the odds are they're going to want a ring. So my best advice, if your area that you just don't like a lot of the quality of the gals there, cast your net someplace else. You know, it's interesting, but maybe your company might move to another location, although that's probably not likely. Or you can move to a different location and work remote. I don't know, but ultimately you got to keep on searching if that's indeed what you want. But I mean, it's tough because you said you don't want to be married. That will be probably the deal breaker for a lot of them to get together. And you know, it's not too hard to Google people nowadays. Your ex found out about you, did her homework, and saw obviously you're coming into money or more money through the stock options when your company goes public. Other ones out there will too. So you have to be very, very careful. But, you know, I wish I could give you some better answers, but I really can't. You know, I don't want to bullshit you here because I frankly am not interested myself in what you want. So I've never really looked into that. But I'm sure there's guys watching this right now that have children with a girlfriend and they're not married and have made it work. So I invite all the guys in the comment section that may have some experience in this beyond what I do to chime away and let this guy know any advice you might have, you know. I mean, all I can say is start looking in other places and continue on your journey of self-improvement, making yourself the man you know you're meant to be. A guy that marches to the beat of his own drum, does what he wants, is an alpha, takes charge, a leader. You're cycling, so obviously you're probably keeping yourself in shape. These are good things and all that. And not making the mistakes that you once did, because sooner or later you might meet a gal that initially your changed behavior helped attract, but you can find yourself going right back into your old ways, you know, or you're so desperate to have kids, I'm going to say that word, that you go against your vow not to get married again, and you go right back to the same bullshit all over again. So just be very, very careful, because one way life will test you. But yeah, man, you're going to have to rely on guys in the community in the comment sections for, because unfortunately I can't give you that piece of advice because I'm just not there and don't want that. But that's me. But bro, overall, after what you've gone through, congratulations on turning your life around. That is awesome. It goes to show you guys can do that. Again, guys, if you haven't seen his first story, the link is in the description at the top of the comment section. Check out the video. You'll see where he's come from. And let me tell you, that guy makes a whole lot of mistakes. I mean, I was smacking the hell out of him, but he turned it around, which shows it can happen. So if you guys are like that, you can too. So brother, I wish you luck. Let me know how you're doing down the road. And good luck with that stock options. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.